Bang. Yo, it's me, it's Connell TEW. And welcome to episode 112, of the TEW 2020 Challenge Run. This is going to be Friday Night SmackDown, week 1, March 2021, going up on what in real life is Friday, week 1, March 2021. So, we're right on par with real life right now. And the road to WrestleMania for the SmackDown side continues. It definitely heats up today. I think last week was kind of mild, but there's a lot of big angles on this show to help build up the blue side of WrestleMania. Without any further ado, let's jump straight into the show.
Close your eyes, surrender your beliefs to them for holding. Wait patiently to hear whatever changing minds are showing. The week will come. All I wanted was violence to put the chains and divide us. It's all the worst that's inside us. We'll bring on the violence, the violence.
The big dog, he opens up and he says, I'm not scared of Karrion Kross. Last week, Scarlett was here and Karrion wasn't here, but she came out and she did this ominous sign where she turned the time bomb over, and, well, that's not going to scare me, because I've seen threats come and I've seen threats go, and there's one universal truth here, and that is that Roman Reigns, this is my yard, and you can play your mind games all you want, Scarlett and Karrion, but I ain't falling for any of that, because once it gets to WrestleMania, I'm going to be in that ring one-on-one with you, and I'm going to knock your teeth down your throat. Scarlett comes out, no music, the lights go out and the spotlight follows her down. She gets into the ring, she doesn't say anything, she's holding the Universal title, and she just sort of looks at Roman, looks at him up and down, just smiles, and is like, tick-tock, and then walks away. As we go to commercial break, and Roman's in the ring, he's facing the other half of the Dirty Dogs, Dolph Ziggler this week, in the opener, not the main event. Goes 9 minutes, he beats him with a spear, gets an 80, that's pretty good. Roman gets an 89 and a 69 nice for the Dirty Dog himself, Dolph Ziggler. But then after the match, Karrion Kross is here, and he puts the cross jacket on Roman Reigns. He puts Roman Reigns to sleep. He probably came with a couple of Doomsday Saitos, 2 or 3 of them. Then he locks in the cross jacket and he puts the big dog down. And he holds his Universal Championship up as the red lights flash, fall and pray, etc. And Karrion Kross has sent a message to the number 1 contender here tonight on SmackDown. 64. There's actually a important segment, kind of. Adam Pearce is back because last week he got attacked by, I think I had Dabba-Kato do it. But he's Adam Pearce, he's a tough boy, and he's back here tonight, and he's confronting Malcolm Bivens. He's like, Bivens, what do you think you're doing? And he's like, oh, hey Adam, I didn't see you here, welcome back. Everything's going swimmingly. And he's like, no, well, it is going swimmingly, but you need to, like, chill, because you're going around here, you're booking all these matches without my permission, but you're just the assistant here, so don't let me know, I'm still the general manager. I may have got attacked and taken out for a couple of hours last week, but I'm back now and I'm ready to resume my position. Thank you very much. And Bivens like, I'm just doing what's best for this brand, since you're such a liability. You tried to think you were the big conquering hero, but you're retired, Adam, just like I am. You couldn't take the fight to the message, that's why I didn't bother trying. So in reality, maybe I've got the show's best interests in heart, because I actually believe what they're saying. And Pierce is like, oh, you're full of shit, mate. And he's like, well, you're telling me you don't want to see AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan? And Pierce is like, well, that's besides the point, but this has gone on long enough. This shit's got to change. We can't both be in this office together. And yeah, we'll have to settle this one way or another. Gable promo. Somebody who's been a big proponent of Malcolm Bivens over the last couple of weeks, but he's not talking about that today. He's talking about his US title, and last week he beat Luchasaurus, and he continues to reiterate the point that nobody on SmackDown can out-wrestle him. He's the best there is on this brand, and that's why he's the United States Champion, and he will hold forever. And he faces Drew Gulak tonight for the US title in a 76. That's fucking really good. 8:48, Gable beats him with a Chaos Theory. Gable makes defense number 3 of the US title. 78 for Gable and a 62 for Drew Gulak. Not too shabby. Backstage, we get a recap first of Bayley beating Alexa last week, and then her getting attacked by Raquel Gonzalez, seemingly out of nowhere for no reason. And that's when Bayley confronts, obviously, don't know what term to use, friend? I don't want to say handler, because she's not like some foreign brute, but the other member of that duo, Dakota Kai, and she's like, well, why did you send Raquel after me last week? What is the issue here? And Dakota's like, oh, I don't know what you're on about. Raquel she may be my best friend and my tag team partner, but she's her own woman. She can do what she wants. She's not being ordered by me. I haven't actually seen her at all tonight, and I've got a match coming up next, so that's actually more of a worry to me. I haven't got time to worry about what she's doing to you, because, like I said, that's none of my business. But just stay out of my way, and maybe Raquel will stay out of yours, I don't know. Just a hunch. And then Dakota leaves to go to her match, and Bayley's like, I see. You piece of shit, I see what's going on here. 53, not actually terrible for what it was, considering it was a 61, a 37, and no storyline, and storytelling. Dakota beat Xia Brookside of Scorpion Kick in 5:25. 61 for Dakota, as I already said, and a 37 for Xia Brookside, and as we noted in that promo before, no Raquel Gonzalez at ringside in this match. Cut backstage again. Paige is chatting up to her friends. Kaylee Ray, Nikki Cross, she says, you came close to the Elimination Chamber, but let's be real, you've only had like 2 or 3 matches as a tag team. You are future women's tag team champions without a shadow of a doubt, and I still feel happy that I'm gonna maybe mentor you and be here for you if you ever need my help. Then the Scots leave, and the camera sort of lingers on Paige for a couple of seconds. When Candice and Ruby just walk in the frame, like, oh, hey, Ruby, look who it is. Is this the little frenemy in question? And she's like, Candice, I think it might be. And Paige is like, what do you want? And they're like, well, we have a message from AJ on Raw, because you see, she's stuck over there and you're stuck over here, so you can't team together. But we can float, so we can send the messages back and forth, and she told me to give you this. She just slaps Paige across the face. Paige is like, okay, I see. That isn't from AJ at all, is it? You are worried about us possibly going for the tag team championships, and I'm sure there's someone we can work this around, that because you two can float, anyone who challenges for the tag team championships could float, so you might want to shut your little mouths, because maybe at some point me and AJ, we can get together and we can take those titles off you. And then Candice and Ruby go to leave, and they cheap shot Paige and they leave her laying backstage. This is the big segment, though, for multiple reasons. Randomly after that, Triple H is seen leaving some sort of boardroom. I don't know. I wouldn't say the GM's office, because I want the GMs to approach him in a minute. But why is he here? And Kayla Braxton is up there. I didn't put her on screen. She's like, Triple H, can we get a word? What is your business here tonight? Why are you here? And he says, I've got, as you may know, there's something very important that needs to be fixed on this show. And I feel like I'm the only person in this entire company with the power to do it. And that's why I'm here. I'm looking into... And then Bivens cuts him off. He's like, hey, my best buddy Triple H. He's like, oh, what do you want, Malcolm? And Pierce is also there. He's like, me and my good scrap daddy friend here were wondering, how long is this whole 2 GMs thing going to keep going until you decide which one of us is best? And Triple H is like, oh, really? Like, you were a manager, then your client quit because he didn't want to be with you anymore, and then you became the assistant for Pierce out of the kindness of his heart, and now you're trying to usurp Pierce. I don't really care. I've got more important things to go on with Mustafa Ali and all that. That shit is my league of issue. But let me just tell you this. We can settle this is WWE, we settle things in here one way. So how about Bivens? You have such a long list of superstars that have backed your authority here on SmackDown. Go wrangle 3 of those up. And Pierce, you do the same. I'm sure there are people out there that either despise Bivens because, let's face it, look at him, or are so confident in your leadership. And we have ourselves a good old elimination 6-man tag team match on the grandest stage of them all, and the winning team, that will be the SmackDown General Manager. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got far more important business to attend than this petty squabble. So there will be Team Pierce, Team Bivens, WrestleMania, 6-man tag, elimination style. Winning team becomes the SmackDown General Manager. Dakota is then seen backstage. She's like taking her wrist tape off and getting ready to go back in the locker room, and she sees Raquel in there. She's like, "Oh, you are here?" She's like, "Yeah, I've been here all night. Why?" And she's like, "Well, I had a match. You didn't come out with me." And Raquel's like, "Oh, that's funny because half an hour ago you said I was my own woman. Which one is it, Dakota?" And she's like, "You know what? My bad. I'll let it slide, Raquel. You do you. I didn't need you anyway. I won." She pats her on the back. "My best friend." Something fishy's going on here. 65. Bianca Belair defeats Mickie James with a KOD. A 59 for Bianca Belair and a 54 for Mickie James. So Bianca has now beaten both of Sasha's, lackeys in Boss back-to-back weeks in singles action. Sasha was at ringside on commentary for this match. Then after the match, in a 79 rated segment, things are getting a bit more serious here because Sasha was on commentary. She was like in a dress and heels and shit, and she orders Indy and Mickie James to get into the ring and attack Bianca. And they hold her. They do the thing where they tie her to the ropes, they pin her to the ropes. They wrap the ropes around her hand so she can't move. Possibly wrap her long and braid around the top rope as well, so she's extra pinned. And then Sasha, she starts slapping her. She starts shouting at Bianca. She's like, "You think you're better than me? You think you're the greatest here on SmackDown? That will always be me. You're just a Sasha Banks wannabe," etc., etc. And then Sasha, in a angle to really turn up the heat, she would take one of her heels and jam the heel in Bianca's eye while she's defenseless. And referees will try and pull her off, which they can do because she's kind of a small woman. But boo, what a heel. Bianca was covering her face in fear, and could be questionable whether or not she'd even make it to WrestleMania after something like that. And Sasha gloats with Indy and Mickie and the SmackDown Women's title. Kayla's got a busy day. She's back with Keith Lee. This time he's actually on screen though. And Keith's like, "Well, I requested this interview, so I know you've got no questions to ask me, but I've got a question I want to ask somebody else." And he turns to the camera. He's like, "Hey, Paul, Brock, what's happening here? We've had our issue. You back at Super Showdown. Me and Brock get 1-on-1. I wasn't quite better than Brock on that day, but I was still new here to SmackDown, so I was kind of overwhelmed. So Brock should have left it there. But I don't know why Brock attacked me in the Elimination Chamber. Possibly he's just angry because I eliminated him from the Royal Rumble, and he wanted to get his revenge for that because I stole his shot at WrestleMania, so he wanted to steal mine. That's just me hypothesizing, because I'm not dumb. Paul Heyman doesn't want to give an explanation. I can work it out myself. Because I've done nothing else. I lost to Brock Lesnar. I've done nothing else. I've never even crossed paths with the man until then. So that must be his issue with me. But make no mistake about it, Brock. This is a different Keith Lee to the one that you beat back at Super Showdown. And I never thought I'd see the day where Brock Lesnar was a coward. But here we are. So if you want to do this again at WrestleMania, ball's in your court because I'm game. And on the grandest stage of them all, if you do accept Brock, I'm going to expose you that you aren't on Keith Lee's level, because this is a new Keith Lee, and you will bask in my glory. SmackDown Tag Team title match that was announced last week. From above against the Usos because they beat the Street Profits 2 weeks ago. And it goes to a no contest. Blair. Because the Street Profits come out because they were really angry last week about the Usos turning on them at the Elimination Chamber or No Way Out, whatever. That was the name of the pay-per-view. And they wreak havoc and they say, no, they're saying at the time, fam, if any one team's going to get those tag team titles off you Usos, it's going to be me and Dawkins, the Street Profits. And they actually take the fight to Death from Above. They take them out first. And then they take the fight to Jimmy and Jey Uso, but of course they are overwhelmed by the monster Jacob Fatu in the Usos' corner. And he lays them out, and again they start shouting, you think you're family? Well, you're not really family. You may think you're as close as family, but we are really brothers. And there's one thing thicker than blood. There's nothing thicker than blood, and Jacob Fatu shares the Samoan blood, Oos. And this is the Samoan bloodline. You've made a mistake messing with us, Oos. Because there's no tag team with a deeper connection than me and my brother Jimmy. And the tag team division is in all sorts of shambles right now. Who knows where that's leading?
You got me feeling diamond rich. Nothing on this planet compares to it. Don't you agree? Who needs to go to sleep when I got you next to me? All night I ride with you. I know you got my back and you know I got you. So come up, lights out, follow the noise. Baby, keep on dancing like you ain't got a choice. So come up, come up, come on, let's get physical. Adrenaline keeps on.
Gorilla. AJ Styles is there, warming up. Omos is towering over him. When Malcolm opens the podium, he's like, hello, AJ. So, you know how I have been here for you every time you've had a request from me the last month or so? And he's like, you can stop, Evans. I know what you want. I'm in. You've been by far greater help to me, and you've given me opportunities when Adam Pearce would keep me off the show. I'm in. I'll be your captain at WrestleMania. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go beat the brakes off Daniel Bryan. And that's all because you have let me, buddy. And he'll give him a noogie or something. Almost would just stare at him intimidatingly, and Bivens would be like looking up at him, and he'd be like, "What's up, buddy? Got no issues with you." 80. AJ Styles delivers on his promise. He defeats Daniel Bryan in 1724 with a Styles Clash, following interference from King Corbin. Corbin hits Daniel Bryan with his scepter, and AJ hits the phenomenal forearm, and he beats Daniel Bryan 1-2-3. Interesting. 83 rated show. I believe that's exactly the same thing I got last week. So we're at a steady point now. I don't think I'm going to be able to break into that upper echelon of show right now, which kind of sucks. But as I always say, what matters more than that is what you thought of the show. So let me know what you thought in the comments below. And I'll see you next time for episode 113, which will be Raw. See you then.